Okay. Well, I'm Dr. Sheryl Bishop, and I work for the University of Texas Medical Branch at Galveston here in the USA. I'm a tenured professor in the School of Nursing, even though I'm a social psychologist, and I'm in the doctoral graduate program.
So, how does your profession have anything to do with space?
Well, I actually got my degree with the intention of working in space, and when I got out of graduate school, there weren't that many people in space to study. So my advisor at that time suggested that what I do is look at analog environments, and we need to understand what are the best kinds of individuals and groups in order to send into space, and in order to figure out how who those are going to be, we need to study individuals that are in environments that would be similar to space. So that started my career doing research in analog environments. These are extreme, isolated, or extremely dangerous environments, deserts, Antarctica, those kinds of environments in which we can watch how individuals and groups perform.
So your job title exactly? What is that exactly?
Well, my job, like I said, I'm a social psychologist, so I wear many hats. Here at the university, I teach research methodology and statistics to our graduate doctoral nursing and physicians in training. My research is kind of outside that job role because my research is looking at groups and teams in extreme environments. Now, there's some crossover because there are extreme environments that you see in everyday life. Firefighters, policemen, ER crews, or surgical teams are also individuals who work in highly technology laden in environments and that need to have good teamwork in order to handle the environment and the dangers and the risks they're in. So there are civilian analogs. You don't have to be a person that climbs a mountain in order to be a member of a team that's involved in an extreme environment. So it does bridge to other kinds of environments.
But as I understand it, you're also part of the International Space University, isn't that correct?
All right, another one of my hats. I'm a faculty at the International Space University. I've been contributing there since 1994 as a lecturer or department chair or running simulations. The ISU is composed of individuals from all over the world who volunteer their time and expertise to the participants. So I'm simply one of that international group.
Right. So do you have do you have like a personal mission in life?
Well, if you'd asked me that at the beginning of my career, I would have said it was to live and work in space. At that time, it seemed very possible that we would have a moon on the a base on the moon, or even possibly on Mars. Here, at this point in my career, I would be happy to actually see the first facility built on the moon and possibly the first mission to Mars actually happen. So my scope of my passion to what I'd like to see happen in my life is certainly reduced over the years.
But do you actually see that happen? I mean, how close do you think that mission to Mars, for instance, is?
I believe that it will happen. It's a matter of timing. It's a matter of resources. I think that there are many things that are in place now that were not in place 10, even 10 years ago. The Chinese have been very steady in the growth of their own space program. That's a good thing, that's healthy. Commercial space has been making steady inroads into removing those regulatory obstacles that prevent them from becoming major players in off Earth industries and endeavors, and that's a healthy and good thing. And I think because of those additional players in the game, so to speak, that we will see more progress happen in the next few years than what we have been seeing over the last 20 years. So I hold some hope, that it will actually come about in my lifetime, at least for the first mission.
Excuse my extreme ignorance here, but what are commercial space industries looking at doing in space? I mean, what kind of field of business is there to be done in space?
Well, I mean, the first and foremost that you hear most about is space tourism. Build a space hotel and give people rides up into microgravity conditions, and that has a lot of romance to it. I don't know that individuals who actually go into microgravity and experience their first bout of space sickness will necessarily think that that's as as wonderful as what they envisioned it. But I've read the Vomit Comet, the KC-135, and I can tell you, even though people were sick, they still really valued and enjoyed that experience. So I think space tourism is a viable industry. When we look at further out at the moon and even the near asteroids, then of course mining and energy production comes to mind. There are in space where you don't have to worry about weather, solar power becomes an actual viable technology to be pursued, and we are finding more and more elements that are more less common on the Earth, on the Moon, and so that provides some possibilities for industry that would not be as viable here on Earth. There are things like crystals that can grow better in microgravity than they can in a 1G environment. So there's a whole host of different industrial applications that could be um, economically done in space that I think that will be further pursued.
Okay, so to change subject a little bit, so do you and your organization think that it's important to be involved in artistic projects such as the film that the visit that you have been in?
Yeah, I mean, we're a health science center. Health is not just about treating the physical; it's about treating the psychological and the emotional and the whole person. And our facility and our faculty here at UTMB really buy into that approach to a great extent. So, at the university level, we have all sorts of art shows and stuff featuring the works of the different faculty and the students. When one of our members, such as myself, are involved in things like the visit or in other media kinds of projects and that type of thing, there's a great deal of enthusiasm and support um, and you know they really do enjoy the fact that we have members who are involved in those kinds of projects.
Well, that's good to hear. And did it also, in some ways, or did uh, the questions that Michael asked, or his approach to the whole subject of the film, that did that contribute to your thinking or your work in any way, or was it just that you contributed to the film?
Um, uh, no, actually, Michael and I had already been working on another project when the visit kind of took off, and he began making all the connections. And as that began to then take most of his focus and time, it was a natural extension for the group um, that we already had together to start asking him about, well, how are you going to do this and how are you going to do that, and for him to pitch his idea to us. And originally, um, my role was going to be the expert who is going to be monitoring the individuals, the other experts who are going to be in direct contact with the alien. And when we started the actual interview, our conversation kept slipping down to, well, what would you say to the alien, or what would you like to ask our visitor? So we kept going to that more direct interaction with the visitor. And in the end, I think that he did a marvelous job. And my role is at times addressing our visitor, but other times it's kind of like stepping aside and making um, comments and observations about the overall and general societal viewpoint and response that would be happening. So it's kind of film. And I think he handled it marvelously.
Thank you. I'm sure he will appreciate that. So, um, I just wanted to ask. I mean, if this, I mean, of course, the film is a hypothetical visit we're talking about, but if this was to actually happen, uh, would you or somebody like you be involved in the actual response that we would have as or what would happen? Do you think that would somebody call you and say help?
I don't. I don't know that they would call me. I'm sure there are other people who are higher up in the governmental priority list of relevant experts to contact. It would be a very flattering if I did get asked. Um, I do think there will be somebody like me. I think that the whole psychology, extraterrestrial psychology, the psychology of an extraterrestrial visitor is going to be very important in framing how the people who are actually in contact with any visitor should respond or how they should interpret things. So I think there will be not just one, but many psychologists on board. It's been very interesting watching people's responses to the film. Initially, I mean, this was with family and friends and acquaintances and colleagues. Initially, they are a little bit dissatisfied. You know, humans are not very good with open-ended things. They want answers. They want a resolution, and good or bad, they want it to be. They want closure. That isn't what Michael's film does. Michael's film opens up questions, and it provokes that kind of reflection about a situation in which we have no answers. So at first, people are unsettled and they're disturbed. But what I have also observed is that as they explore those questions and they explore their responses to it, they become much more accepting to the fact that this is a range of possibilities and that we have no answers. So it's been an interesting experience.
I think you're very right about that. And it is, of course, a problem to give answers to something that we actually don't have answers to. I mean, if you did, they would probably not be so interesting. Okay, well, I wanted to thank you very much for now you can.
Sorry.
No problem. Well, thank you very much for taking time to do this. And we are, like I think I wrote, we are going to publish a little interview every day during World Space Week,
Okay.
and we will put it online with the film on Facebook and on Vimeo. We have had really many visitors. Like I think the trailer has been watched like 40,000 times since September 2nd. So there's a lot of interest, and we are very happy that with this interview and the others we are doing, we can now give people a little more to satisfy this enormous curiosity. So thank you very much.
So I sent it out to all of my contacts and my lists and my networks and posted it on Facebook and put it on sent it to the ISU, although I haven't seen anything that they posted yet. But and I've got a lot of people that I haven't heard from in a long time sending me emails going like, "Oh, this is wonderful, great, I'll watch it." So hopefully it's generated a little bit of activity from just the people I've been able to reach out to. So I think it's a film that gains momentum, over time because word of mouth gets around.
Yeah, I think so too, and people like to talk about it, so we also get a lot of responses here. So that's great. Okay, thank you very much, and I will send you a link so that you can see the
Okay,
result.
great.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye.